What's up guys, James here from BootWizard Boot Reviews, and today we are doing a boot battle, and it is possibly our first ever takedown model boot battle on BootWizard. And we're going to take the Predator Freak.3. Now we're using the laced variation here because it is better than the laceless. There is no argument about that. I will dismiss all of these arguments. This is better than the laceless. I'm not even going to make a video on that. It just is. So we have this going up against the Vapor 14 Academy level boot, and these are both exactly the same price. They are both probably the biggest hyped boots that have been released at this price point so far in 2021. So we're gonna put them head to head. They're both synthetic uppers. There's definitely a lot of similarities here. So we just need to find out which one is better. Do remember to like the video, get subscribed to the channel. If you want to cop either of these, then hit the first link down in the top pinned comment. And if you can support us, please head to patreon.com/bootwizard. And let's get into our first category. All right, here we go. We're going to talk about the upper. Both are rocking synthetic uppers, but they do feel quite different. This is a mesh-based synthetic, whereas this is more of a pure synthetic. Now you can see straight away that this is much softer. Now that does lead to some problems, potentially in terms of the fit in this toe box area, where it tends to crease and bend up a little, which is not ideal. But overall, it is just a softer synthetic. But I would argue that the texture you get on the 0.3 laced Predator is actually a little bit nicer, despite the fact they both do have a texture. This is just a little bit more effective. One of my biggest gripes with this boot, however, is this flaccid nonsense collar, which I really dislike in terms of fit, feel, comfort, and looks. Huge no-no for me, whereas just this standard tongue that runs through the Vapor, I just think is far nicer. Both have a reasonably decent touch on the ball. The padding is a little bit more in the Vapor than it is in the Predator. You can take your pick as to which sensation you prefer. In terms of the upper though, I am just going to also consider just the shape and the overall build without trying to get too much into the fit, because that's a category we'll get into a little bit later on. And honestly, just the way that the Vapor is put together is superior. I have a problem with this toe box, which we will get to, but on the whole, I'm gonna give the win on the upper to the Vapor as a 10-9, but yeah, it's mainly because I'm kind of skewed away from this, because there's a lot of things regarding the shape, the way it fits, and the way it feels that I just genuinely do not like. And honestly, I think this collar could have lost it the round all by itself. It doesn't feel as premium as the Vapor does. The Vapor feels more premium on feet and in hand, which I think is really important when you're picking up something that is at a budget price point. You still want to feel like you're getting good value for money, and I think this feels better than this overall. So it's a 10-9 win for the Vapor, neither particularly outstanding. So next up, we're going to have a look at the traction. Now, you will notice on these two boots, I do have the FG/MG variation of the Mercurial, and I have the AG variation of the Predator here. So, well, this is actually the MG, so the multi-ground. So this is why we're comparing them, because this is Adidas's multi-ground versus Nike's multi-ground. And I honestly think the best way to put this is, if you're looking to play predominantly on an AG pitch, this is the better stud pattern and stud shape to go for. However, if you're looking to play predominantly on an FG pitch, then this is the better stud pattern and stud shape to go for. So they both have benefits. It is just a case of the Mercurial being a little better for FG and the Predator being a little better for AG, despite the fact that they are both classed as multi-ground options. So with that in mind, I'm not really going to pick a winner based on the stud pattern or the stud shape, because they're both doing something well out of the two options that you get from a multi-ground stud plate. However, we do also have to look at the plate itself and how it reacts. You get more rigidity and stability through the heel and midfoot of the Mercurial, with a decent amount of bend and snapback in the forefoot. This is definitely better than what you get here, which is just a piece of plastic basically that gradually decreases in stiffness. There doesn't seem to be any ingenuity to it. It's just not as good. It doesn't give you as good a responsiveness from the sole plate as you get from the Mercurial. In this particular instance, when you're comparing those two things, there is an absolute clear winner, and it is the Mercurial. It's a no-brainer that the Predator sole plate just doesn't offer anything like the benefits that you get from the Mercurial, which just feels better. I think it's better designed, it's better put together, and the feeling on feet is better. So it's another win for the Merc. It's another 10-9. Okay, we're going to talk weight. Now, this might be a slightly unfair category because the Mercurial is a speed boot takedown, the Predator is not. So you would already expect the Mercurial to be lighter than the Predator. So we'll pop them on the scales and we'll find out. The Mercurial coming in at 205 grams and the Predator coming in at 245 grams. So it is 40 grams more not expensive, 40 grams heavier in the Predator. So yes, the lighter boot is the Mercurial, but we're not really expecting the Predator to be unbelievably light because of the style of boot it is. Either way, I think 245 grams really is pushing the boundaries a little bit, and I think 205 is actually quite impressive for a boot at this particular level, at this €80 price point. So I'm going to give the win to the Mercurial because it's more impressive. Value for money is fairly straightforward for me here. These are both €80 boots, and in the case of both boots, there are better options out there, both as new boots at around this price point and also for boots that are just simply on sale at this price point. I see very little reason to pick up either of these boots brand new at €80. There's just other options to consider, particularly stuff on sale. Maybe even a 0.1 level boot from Adidas, a much older elite or even a pro level boot from Nike. There's just better boots you can buy for the money you're going to spend, and the only reason to pick these up is to have the newest boot, and that's not really a reason to pick these boots up in my opinion. So value for money, better options elsewhere. While I do think that the Mercurial is overall a better boot, and I'm sure that'll be reflected in the scores, if you do want to pick a pair of these up or these, hit the top link down in the top pinned comment. But overall value for money, they're both getting a, well actually, you know what, it's not going to be a 10-all draw, it's going to be a 9-all draw because there's just better options elsewhere. Looks, you know how this goes. I give you my opinion and you tell me which one you think is better looking down in the comments. The round will be scored as a 10-all draw because looks is not a performance category and it is simply the lights again. Oh my word. I'll be back. I have returned. Where were we? Something about looks. Anyway, I think that the Mercurial is better looking because I really hate the collar on the Predator, but it's going to be a 10-all draw because looks is not performance. It doesn't matter. We're not going to give a win on either boot, but let me know what you think. I think that's everything. I'm talking really fast. It's a 10-all draw. Move along. Next category, go. And finally, the fit and comfort category. We will start by just talking about the single issue that the Mercurial seems to have, which is that the fit in the toe box is bad because the material here is so soft. Now, I realize that sounds insane. I really wanted this material to be great because it's just so soft and it's wonderful for an €80 takedown, but there's so little structure there that it just kind of bends and creases up in and around your feet, which is kind of disappointing. Other than that, the fit and comfort is completely fine. fine for a boot at this particular price point. There's good heel lockdown. There's not really any particular problems. If you are interested in buying, it's a true to size boot that does width well for pretty much everybody. Most of the widest feet will get in this. The Predator, if you watched my full review of this, there are full reviews of both of these boots up on my channel already, so you can go and check those out. I'll leave a link to one up in the corner. But the Predator, I basically hate the fit of. I just think it's terrible, and it starts with the heel. The heel counter is quite deep, but the feeling is very shallow. I feel like I'm going to slip out of the heel counter at any given moment here. There's not really a lot about the fit and shape of this boot that I think is good or that I like. It's not very well designed for a foot. Now, it's supposed to go on feet, and it just doesn't seem to be a boot that's designed for feet. I don't know. It might be better off as some kind of like meat tenderizer, because you'd have to watch my full review on these to really get all the different minutiae without me going into a huge rant here. But I don't particularly like the fit of this boot. I think it's very poor, and I think that the laceless version is the only boot that I've tried recently where the fit is even worse. So this has a problem, and the problem is the toe box, and we are going to deduct a point for that. So we're going to make it 9. However, for a pure assault on my feet and several low blows, we're going to make this an 8, and it's going to be a 9-8 score, and it's going to be a win for the Mercurial in this particular round, because I really don't like the fit of these boots for so many reasons. Like I say, check out my full review for all of the little details. I knew coming into this, now normally I just do these kind of point by point and I record live. I don't pre-plan them, so that my reaction and the point scores that you get are very genuine, and I'm not showing bias to one boot or another, despite my own personal preferences. However, here, I think there's no question coming into this, I knew that the Predator 0.3 with the laces was going to take a defeat, and going to take a heavy defeat, because it's just not a boot that I can recommend. If you're putting these two boots head to head, the two arguably biggest names from the two biggest brands, I just don't think there's a competition, and I think the Mercurial takes it, despite the fact that the Mercurial does have its own flaws, and I think for the money, you should maybe not be looking at either of these boots and should be looking elsewhere. But if this versus this, Vapor versus Predator is what you're looking at, the Vapor is unequivocally my winner. And if you do want to pick them up, top link down in the top pinned comment. If you want to see more boot battles, let me know which boot battles you want to see down below, including, of course, takedown boot battles. Like the video if you did agree with me. Like the video if you didn't agree with me. I messed that up. I was trying to be clever. And of course, get subscribed to the channel for all of my future content. Support us over at patreon.com/BootWizard. And that's all from me here today. Have a good one, and I'll see you soon. Yes!